Good morning, liveweatherblogs.com meteorologist Bob Acanfrio with today's tropical update for Tuesday, August 31st, 2010. Main focus today again will be Hurricane Earl. Here's the latest advisory as of 9 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. We have maximum sustained winds at 135 miles an hour. That makes this a Category 4 storm. Movements to the west-northwest at 13. Latest pressure is up a little bit. We're now up to 935 millibars, up from 931 from the last advisory. Hurricane hunters are in this system, and pressure is starting to rise, and I'll show you why that is starting to rise here shortly. And we may have seen our peak in our intensity with Hurricane Earl, and I'll show you that as well in a minute. Here's the official forecast track. Nothing's really changed from the National Hurricane Center in the last day. Bringing this system very close to the Cape Hatteras area by Thursday night, early Friday morning, and then positioning it just off the New England coast by Friday night, early Saturday morning, and then up through the Nova Scotia area and Newfoundland area by Saturday night, early Sunday morning. So that is the official forecast track by the National Hurricane Center. I lie still, at least in the near term, when this gets from here to Hatteras, I am still on the western edge of this envelope. We've had a western bias to Earl this whole time as regarding the models. Although we've seen the forecast points recently, especially this morning, starting to go a little east of forecast points, and boy, that would be great news for the Cape. But still, I'm going to lie a little west here. And I think we might see a direct landfall near Cape Hatteras by Thursday night, Friday morning. I will kind of narrow this down as we go through the day today, and then hopefully by tomorrow night, later tonight, I'll have even more of an exact track. We should see tropical storm watches go up for the Cape Hatteras area probably by later today or tonight. We already have the Cape Hatteras National Seashore. They do have mandatory evacuations at 5 o'clock today, I believe, if I'm correct on that, or by 5 o'clock tomorrow. I think it's by 5 o'clock tomorrow. We'll have mandatory evacuations. That's kind of remote out here, so they want to get people off way ahead of the storm just in case. So that's the only mandatory evacuations I see. Again, that's for by 5 o'clock tomorrow. Okay, so there's the official forecast by the National Hurricane Center, and I'll show you some of my thoughts. Again, initial thoughts are this is going to get pretty close to the Cape Hatteras area on the western edge of this cone. And then we'll have to see, will this be a sharper turn? Will we have kind of a little bounce effect where this gets right about here and then juts off more like this? Or will we see a more smooth ride up the coast? If Earl slows down, if Earl's a little slower here as it approaches the Cape, then we could see a more steeper turn, a more hook like this, where the effects along the East Coast, Northeast, and New England would be less. If Earl's a little faster, then it could ride up along the coast and be a little closer to the coast. So that's what we're going to have to watch for speed with Earl the next 24 to 48 hours. Again, slower Earl as it approaches the Hatteras area. I believe then we'll see it farther east. It'll be more of a sharper turn. A quicker Earl, it could ride along the coast. So that's what we're really going to watch for. Initial percentages: Cape Hatteras, I give tropical storm winds 60%, hurricane force winds 20%. Up along the coast, Cape Cod area here. Right now, I'm at about 20% for tropical storm force winds. Again, I'll be as the day goes along, especially for tonight's update, I'll try to update these numbers for you. Okay, let's get to some of the images here. First, here's Hurricane Earl. You can see the eye starting to disappear here. What's happening? Well, as we saw last night, we started an eye wall replacement cycle. This cycle is just about complete. So the inner eye wall has now collapsed, and a bigger eye wall is now developing, and I'll show you that on radar, and the Mimic is a great view for this. So we've seen that. So now, will this come back? It usually takes a little while for that outer eye wall to contract again. But then we have other issues. We have some southwesterly shear ahead of this system and a little bit of drier air. So depending on how fast this eye wall will start to contract, will determine, will we see Earl strengthen a little more maybe later today into tonight before this shear hits it. I'm not too sure about that. I think we might have seen our peak in Earl, and maybe just a steady state for Earl the next 24 to 48 hours, and then slow weakening as it approaches the Hatteras area. Again, eye wall replacement cycles are hard to pinpoint, but that's my thinking now. I'm thinking Earl might have peaked in its intensity already. And here's the mimic, and this is a great view from University of Wisconsin. And you can see this is through the overnight hours and then into this morning. You can see that inner eye wall collapsing and an outer eye wall starting to take be the main eye wall here. So it's going to take a while for that outer eye wall to contract down, and that's how these systems strengthen. As that eye wall contracts and gets smaller, we get a stronger system. So we're just about done with our eye wall replacement cycle, and now we'll see if this system could get back to strengthen, or will that shear start to take over in about 12 to 24 hours and then not be able to gain any more strength. And that's what I'm looking at now. I'm thinking Earl has peaked in its intensity. And then again, as you can see, this is the radar out of San Juan, and you could see that inner eye wall starting to collapse, and that's going to be this outer eye wall that's going to take hold here as the eye wall replacement cycle has completed. Okay, water vapor loop. Here we go, and this is showing Fiona as well, and I'll show you that there. Here's Fiona right here. It's going to start to run into the outflow of Earl really quickly. Fiona, my thinkings on this is it follows Earl as a weak system, or it dissipates altogether. We do have tropical storm watches and warnings for the northeastern leewards. I will show you that down the road, but those are my two thinkings now. Fiona follows Earl as a pretty weak system, or it dissipates altogether as the shear from Earl's outflow is really going to catch up with this system. So I don't expect much out of Fiona right now. So here's Earl, and you can see here's that shear. We have a little upper level low kind of diving down here to the south. This will need to really get out of the way so that we can see high pressure again develop over Earl. But Earl looks like, and you can almost see the clouds here. You can see the eastern outflow starting to get contracted here, kind of like a little wall here as it's meeting this shear. So between that little bit of dry air and shear, this could be it for Earl. Not it like it's going to dissipate, but as far as peak intensity, he's still going to be a steady state through here. And then we could actually see the shear start to weaken again in this area again as this slips to the south. So Earl's not done yet, but as far as its peak intensity, we might have seen it peak by now, and then we'll kind of see a steady intensity and then kind of a slow weakening trend as it gets to the Hatteras. Still, it could be a Category 2, Category 3 system as it approaches the Cape. So don't let your guard down over there. The system's not going to fall apart anytime soon. And here we go. This is the trough we're going to be watching. This is going to be the kicker to possibly kick this out to sea, which would be really good news. But we'll have to watch the interaction here. Again, a slower Earl could mean comes up here and then slows down, and then this will kick it, and we'll have more of a sharper hook, which would alleviate the concerns for the northeast here. But then a faster Earl and a trough that kind of hangs back a little bit, and this could ride right up the coast. So those are our two factors right now. Here's that wind shear I was talking about. You could see that southwest wind shear just to the north of Earl right now, and that could be a factor in limiting its intensity here in the next 24 to 48 hours. Pretty low shear around Fiona right now. We might see Fiona pick up a little bit today, not much. But then this northeasterly outflow from Earl is going to start taking over and knocking down Fiona. Fiona could even fall apart here as it approaches the islands. Latest model runs, early run models, again, keeping everything just offshore. But you see how close it gets to Earl. And you can see the difference in the models and showing you, are we going to have more of a easy turn or more of a sharp turn? So that's really what we're going to watch out for here as far as effects for the northeast and the Canadian Nova Scotia and New Brunswick here. Intensity models, and you can see everybody going down. This is its peak right now. The next 12 to 24 hours, and then we're going to have that slow decrease in intensity as it moves up the east coast. Again, this isn't going to fall apart, but we're not going to see a major hurricane in the northeast. Again, more model runs. You could see pretty much everybody just off the coast here. Again, some of those sharper turn models heading it out like this. This is the HWRF model, again, along the coast. GFDL, same thing, pretty much as the HWRF, just keeps it a little farther off the coast. GFS, here's the differences here. I like to show these differences in the 500 millibar. This was 12Z yesterday. Here's the trough right here. Here's Earl. Now let's compare it to today's 6Z. A little bit more of a negative tilt here in this trough. And this could keep it a little closer to the coast. So let's show you the differences again. So you could see, that's why I'm still concerned about this riding up along the coast, especially as a faster system. The GFS has had this system faster, and again, that could be our concern along the east coast here. And here's the GFS. This is valid for early Friday morning, right near the Cape. Could have hurricane force winds along Cape Hatteras. And then this is valid for Friday afternoon, riding off the coast. The heaviest winds would stay away from the Jersey shore. We could be seeing some tropical storm force winds along the Jersey shore here. Again, a lot of coastal erosion, beach erosion, and some coastal flooding. And then finally, early Saturday morning, again, could see some hurricane force winds along the eastern edge of Cape Cod here. And then our concerns would be as a Category 1 hurricane, possibly seeing some effects along the Maine coast, and then of course Nova Scotia, definitely probably Category 1 hurricane, starting to transition into a powerful extratropical system. So that's what the GFS is showing right now. Again, I pretty much agree with this. I think we're going to see this right along the coast, but I really want to see the speed as it approaches Cape Hatteras the next 24 to 48 hours to see if we could get that, either that trend up the coast or that bump out to sea. And again, a Euro model showing Earl. Here we go. Where's Earl? Come on, Earl. Where are you? Here we go. There's Earl. Again, pretty much like the GFS, right up the coast, just like that. Fiona nowhere to be found as it kind of gets absorbed into Earl. Canadian model. This is showing you that bump. You see what I'm talking about? Canadian model definitely shows this, getting close to the Cape, and then more of a push out to sea, and again affecting more of Newfoundland. So you could see that's where this bump, and this would spare a lot of the northeast, a lot of effects from Earl. So we'll have to watch that. Last but not least, Fiona. Here she is, west-northwest 24, maximum sustained winds at 40. Tropical storm watches and warnings for northeastern leewards. This isn't going to be Earl for them. Much weaker system than Earl, not even close. And then you could see here's the official forecast track. Could stall in this area, but I don't think so. I think, like I said, either this is going to follow Earl or just dissipate altogether. It's just way too close to Earl to really be a factor. And here she is, looking a little better organized today. We're actually starting to finally see some convection try to build near it as it's starting to get rid of some of that dry air. But you could see the wall of Earl and Earl's outflow. It's lurking right in this area here. And I don't expect much out of Fiona as it approaches the islands. And last but not least, the bigger picture. Here's Earl, Fiona, and here's our newest Invest 98L. We'll be watching this system carefully the next few days. A lot of dry air around it now, but this could be a factor. And this one's a little farther south, and this one could slip farther south. Could this be our first Caribbean cruiser? We'll have to watch and see. A long time to wait and watch for that one. Well, that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. I thank you all for watching my videos. I really appreciate it. Stay tuned to liveweatherblogs.com for the latest. And I will have another update later tonight, probably around 9 or 10 o'clock. Have a good day.